Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's topic is the extraocular muscles, which is an important topic in the head and neck region. In the head and neck region, we have already covered the scalp face, parotid gland, dural folds, dural venous sinuses, cavernous sinus, and pituitary gland. And next dissection is this extraocular muscles or the muscles in the orbit. So those who have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe now so that you will receive the continuation of the head and neck classes and also the histology, embryology. So many playlists in our channel. In our channel, we have added a new playlist, Important Anatomy in 50 videos. You just go through that 50 videos that will cover the 60 to 70% of the anatomy questions for the exams. So those who are not subscribed, do subscribe now and watch the continuation of the classes. So now we will move on to the extraocular muscles. The name itself tells there is another group of muscles, intraocular muscles. Do you know the intraocular muscles? Before we start with the extraocular muscles, inside the eyeball, the smooth muscles, sphincter pupillae, dilator pupillae, and ciliaris. They are the intraocular muscles. These extraocular muscles are present in the bony orbit outside the eyeball. So they are the muscles of the orbit. Altogether 10 muscles in one orbit. In this, 6 muscles move the eyeball. 1 muscle elevates the upper eyelid. So 6 muscles move the eyeball. They are the 4 recti and 2 oblique muscles. One muscle which elevates the upper eyelid is the levator palpebrae superioris. Altogether 7 skeletal muscles. 3 smooth muscles are also present in the orbit. They are the superior tarsal, inferior tarsal, and orbitalis. So these important muscles are the 4 recti muscles: superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial rectus, and lateral rectus. 2 oblique muscles are the, so rectus means straight. 2 other oblique is also present, superior and inferior oblique. First we will start with the recti muscles, origin and insertion. Origin, you observe the picture. This is the bony orbit, one orbit. So colored bones, that indicates how this orbit is formed. So in that picture you try to see the superior orbital fissure and optic canal. Around that one common tendinous ring is formed, that is the origin of recti muscles. It is given by the green colored ring. So that all 4 recti muscles arise in the posterior part of the orbit from the common tendinous ring, which bridges across the superior orbital fissure and the optic canal. That is called as tendon of Zinn. So this tendon of Zinn is given in clinical anatomy books, which I have taken. You can note the tendon of Zinn. Origin, superior rectus from the, again the same image. This is the superior orbital fissure from, and its contents are given. Roof of the orbit is also given in the picture. Optic canal is given. You have to draw the common tendinous ring around the middle part of the superior orbital fissure and optic canal. From that ring, superior rectus take origin from the superior margin, inferior rectus from the inferior margin, medial rectus from the medial margin, lateral rectus from the lateral margin by 2 heads. So this lateral rectus is like having 2 heads. So that is the origin. Insertion, recti muscles are inserted in front of the equator of the eyeball. You have to draw one equator. If you draw the equator, this recti muscles will go and insert in front of the equator of the eyeball. The oblique muscles will be inserted behind the equator of the eyeball. In front of the equator of eyeball, behind the sclerocorneal junction in a spiral manner. Medial rectus is 5 millimeter and it is the largest muscle. Inferior rectus is 6 millimeter from the, so this millimeter indicates the distance from the sclerocorneal junction. Inferior rectus 6 millimeter, lateral rectus 7 millimeter, superior rectus 8 millimeter. So this is the farthest. If you connect all these insertion of recti, as if this it is getting a spiral line of Tilak's. So that is the origin and insertion of recti muscles. Now we will see the superior oblique muscle. So before that we will see the axis of recti muscles. So you draw the eyeball, you draw the visual axis from the anterior pole to the posterior pole. Draw the equator. Recti muscles are inserted in front of the equator. You can observe medial rectus and lateral rectus lie in the same horizontal axis. If you see the superior rectus, inferior rectus is below the eyeball. They lie in the oblique plane, making an angle of 25 degree with the visual axis. Superior oblique muscle is the longest orbital muscle. Origin, again the same roof of the orbit, that is the undersurface of lesser wing of sphenoid. So this superior oblique takes origin above one medial to the common tendinous ring. So this image is a good image to understand the dissection of the orbit. So you see the right side orbit, right orbit, that is first when you remove the bony roof of the orbit, you can see like this. First muscle will be the levator palpebrae superioris. Just below that will be the superior rectus. On the medial side, you can observe the medial rectus also in the right orbit. In the left orbit, if you see, if you remove all these superficial muscles, then you will see the deeper structures. You are seeing the optic nerve, lateral rectus, superior oblique on the medial side. So the superior oblique muscle passes forward along the upper margin of medial rectus at the junction of roof and medial wall of the orbit. It forms a rounded tendon, you can see, which passes through fibrocartilaginous pulley or otherwise called trochlea. That pulley is called, fixed to a depression of the frontal bone. You can see on the left side. From that it changes the direction backward. So again, this is the good diagram for the diagrammatic representation of the oblique muscles. From the pulley you see it is changing the direction backward laterally and downward below the superior rectus muscle. So in the diagram you are also seeing the superior rectus and inferior rectus also, and inserted into the sclera behind the equator in the postero-superior quadrant of the eyeball. If you draw in this picture, you can see the axis of superior oblique also. You draw the visual axis, axis of superior oblique, you observe the inferior oblique in the same picture. So you draw the axis, it makes an angle of 51 degree with the visual axis. Inferior oblique, superior oblique from the roof of the orbit, inferior oblique from the floor of the orbit, from the orbital surface of maxilla, slightly lateral to the nasolacrimal notch. Muscle passes at first backward and laterally below the inferior rectus, then turns upwards, backwards, laterally under cover of lateral rectus, finally inserted into the sclera behind the equator. Both the obliques are close when near their insertion in the postero-superior quadrant of the eyeball. Again, this picture is a good picture. To draw the oblique muscles, you observe the superior oblique in the upper part, superior rectus also, inferior rectus, and also see the inferior oblique. So floor of the orbit from the orbital surface of maxilla. If you have to see this inferior oblique, we have to dissect through the lower eyelid. Then we will reach this floor of the orbit. Then we can see the inferior oblique. You can see both the obliques are inserted. So you can see this passing below the inferior rectus, then under cover of lateral rectus. So that only lateral rectus is cut to show the insertion. Both are inserted, both oblique are inserted behind the equator. You can observe in the postero-superior quadrant of the eyeball. Axis of oblique muscle we have seen already in the previous picture, lie in the same oblique plane, directed backward and laterally, making an angle of 51 degree with the visual axis. So we have completed the origin and insertion of recti muscles. Now we will see the nerve supply of recti muscles. All striated ocular muscles are supplied by the oculomotor nerve. That is the third cranial nerve. Oculomotor, that's why it is called motor to the eyeball. Except the lateral rectus and the superior oblique. Lateral rectus is innervated by the obducent or sixth cranial nerve. Lateral rectus causes abduction of eyeball. That's why this cranial nerve is called as obducent nerve. And superior oblique by the trochlear nerve. Superior oblique by the which passes through the trochlea. That's why this cranial nerve is called as trochlear nerve. This we can remember by the dictum LR6, that is lateral rectus 6, SO4, superior oblique 4, remaining 3. Again the same nerve supply diagram. This diagram we have to draw for the nerve supply. Superior orbital fissure is given, middle compartment, 2 divisions of oculomotor nerve, and between the 2 divisions and below abducens nerve is given. In the lateral compartment, trochlear nerve is given. All the muscles, 4 recti muscles and 2 oblique muscles are given, and also the levator palpebrae superior. We follow the superior division of oculomotor nerve, supplies the superior rectus and the levator palpebrae superior. Inferior division supplies the inferior rectus, inferior oblique and medial rectus. Abducens nerve supplies the lateral rectus. Trochlear nerve supplies the superior oblique. Now, movements and axis of movements. What are the movements of the eyeball? Elevation and depression of the eyeball, moving upwards and downwards. Adduction and abduction of the eyeball, moving medially and laterally. Torsion of the eyeball, as this is like rotation around an anteroposterior axis, extending from anterior pole to posterior pole. What is intorsion? Torsion, we have two torsion, intorsion and extorsion. When 12 o'clock position, you have to mark first cornea, clock positions. When 12 o'clock position of the cornea rotates medially, it is known as intorsion. When 12 o'clock position of the cornea rotates laterally, it is called extorsion. So these are the movements of the eyeball. So what are the axes of the movements of the eyeball? Elevation and depression around a transverse axis passing through the equator. Adduction and abduction around a vertical axis passing through the equator. Torsion is by the anteroposterior axis. That is, we have to draw the line from the anterior pole to the posterior pole of the eye. So these are the movements of the eye and the axis of movements. Now we will see the movements of the individual muscles. In the primary position, in the normal position, medial rectus causes adduction only. Lateral rectus causes abduction only. The superior rectus and inferior rectus causes elevation, adduction, intorsion, superior rectus. So superior rectus we have to remember corresponding superior, so it is causing elevation. Inferior rectus causes depression. Both muscles causes adduction. And superior rectus causes intorsion, inferior rectus causes extorsion. Superior oblique opposite action, depression. Inferior oblique opposite, elevation. Because they are oblique, they produce opposite actions. Both muscles produce abduction. Superior oblique causes intorsion, inferior oblique causes extorsion. So intorsion is caused by two muscles, superior rectus and superior oblique. Extorsion is caused by two muscles, inferior rectus and inferior oblique. Action of individual muscles in other position of the eye. So middle is primary position. Primary position, elevation is by superior rectus and inferior oblique. Depression is by inferior rectus and superior oblique. So in adducted eye, elevation is by inferior oblique, depression by superior oblique. Only one muscle. In abducted eye, elevation is by superior rectus and depression is by inferior rectus. So we have seen in the action of individual muscles in primary position of eye and other position of eye. We have completed the recti muscles, oblique muscles which move the eyeball. This one muscle, levator palpebrae superioris, which elevates the upper eyelid. Levator means elevates, palpebrae means lid, superior means upper eyelid. This muscle is also very important, which elevates the upper eyelid. You just think this palpebral fissure is always made open all the times when we are awake. This action is done by the levator palpebrae superioris muscle. It's a triangular sheet of muscle which intervenes between the roof of the orbit and superior rectus muscle. So in dissected roof bony orbit, I have told this is the first muscle which we will see in the dissection of the orbit. Origin, same, this also takes origin from the roof of the orbit. You can see above the common tendinous ring. Roof of the orbit, the under surface of lesser wing of sphenoid. Traced in front, the muscle ends in an aponeurosis which splits into 3 lamellae. Upper lamellae penetrates the orbital septum, passes through the fibers of the orbicularis oculi and is attached to the skin of the upper eyelid. Intermediate lamellae forms the unstriped superior tarsal muscle which is attached to the upper margin of superior tarsus. Tarsus means tarsal plate in the eyelid. It is a fibrous sheet in the both eyelids, superior tarsal and inferior tarsal plates. So you have to note this. Superior tarsal muscle is derived from this. Lower lamellae is derived from the conjoint connective tissue of superior rectus and levator palpebrae superioris, and it is inserted into the fornix, superior fornix of conjunctiva. So by all means it is inserted into the upper eyelid to pull the upper eyelid above. Again, this is the good diagram for the levator palpebrae superioris. You can see which is the superficial muscle in the orbit between the roof of the orbit and superior rectus muscle. If you see the insertion, upper eyelid is given. One lamella is inserted into the skin of upper eyelid. Middle lamella is inserted into superior tarsal plate. Lower lamella, it is derived both from superior rectus and levator palpebrae superioris. You can observe the superior fornix of the conjunctiva. It is inserted there. In this picture, you try to observe the inferior tarsal muscle also. That is the diagram for the inferior tarsal muscle also. Nerve supply we have already seen. It is supplied by the upper ramus of the upper division of the oculomotor nerve, which reaches the muscle after innervating the superior rectus. Levator palpebrae is considered as delaminated part of superior rectus muscle. So levator palpebrae superior is the delaminated part of superior rectus muscle. Superior tarsal muscle is the delaminated part of levator palpebrae superioris. Action of this muscle is it elevates the upper eyelid. We have completed these 7 muscles. Now 3 smooth muscles: superior tarsal, inferior tarsal and orbitalis. These are supplied by the postganglionic sympathetic fibers from the superior cervical ganglia, not by the cranial nerves. We have already learnt that superior tarsal is derived from the intermediate lamellae of levator palpebrae superioris and is attached to the upper margin of superior tarsus. It assists the elevation of upper eyelid. So stimulation of sympathetic nerves in fright, anger, widens the palpebral fissure. Inferior tarsal muscle connects the inferior tarsus of lower eyelid to the facial sheath of inferior rectus and inferior oblique muscle. It assists the depression of lower eyelid. Orbitalis muscle stretches across the inferior orbital fissure and its function is not known. So we have completed the 10 muscle. Applied anatomy of these muscles. Unilateral paralysis of individual muscle due to the involvement of the oculomotor trochlear or abducens nerves produces strabismus, which is also called as squint. which will result in the diplopia or double vision, because the light from the object will not be focused on the identical areas of both retinae. Paralysis of lateral rectus. So lateral rectus causes abduction, which is affected now. So the eyeball will be rotated medially. It will be called internal strabismus. Paralysis of medial rectus. So adduction will be lost. So the eyeball will be rotated laterally. It will be called external strabismus. Involvement of superior rectus. Produce diplopia on looking up. That of inferior rectus, diplopia on looking down. So the strabismus is more pronounced in the paralysis of lateral and medial rectus muscle. When superior oblique is affected, diplopia occurs on looking down. So we have completed the extraocular muscles of the eyeball. So with the next topic of fascia coli or the deep cervical fascia in the neck, we will see in the next class. Those who have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and watch the important anatomy in 50 videos.